Guys, can you see me? Check, 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 check. Everything working? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Write in the chat to confirm. Yes, wild heckin' Bob in the freaking flesh. Okay, cool, guys. Huge month. We're gonna recap it all. You guys can ask your questions. I'll answer them. Basically, I'm gonna start off with we'll get to crypto, we'll get to stonks, we'll get to NFTs, we'll get to all that. I'm just gonna recap the month real quick for you guys from start to finish. Give you most ideas. Look at these bags under my eyes from the amount of surfing, salt, sun exposure, and then you guys can hopefully get some ideas on what you're wondering about certain things. Okay, month starts freaking January, the busiest month we have on the North Shore. You're talking, you have 3 different waiting periods. The Jaws event has a waiting period. The Backdoor Shootout is the waiting period, and the Vans Online Triple Crown is a waiting period. And we had kind of a slow winter to start, so all of a sudden January rolls around and the forecast hits and updates, and we're like, oh my god, we're gonna have 15 plus days of 10-foot plus surf. And we're like, like, do we have the boards we need? Do we have everything we need? Like, this is gnarly. Like, pipe's going to be good every single day. There's going to be a few days that have outer reefs breaking that are even too big for pipe. Like, is our bodies healthy? Is our bodies ready? And obviously, we were very ready. And it worked out perfectly. There was a swell that they were planning on running the Jaws event, and that was going to coincide in the middle of the shootout event. So the shootout can run 4 days, and if you guys hadn't seen, I'm sure you had, we had Team Florence. That was myself, John, Ivan, and our friend Eli Olson. And if the waves had ended up getting a little bit smaller, we would have had our mom paddle out because she does surf pipe when the waves are small and catch a few waves. So that would have been rad. It ended up, the Jaws event ended up being called off because of the swell peaked in the night and it died in the day. So you would have had to run 2 half days, potentially just wasn't going to work. And that would have been in the middle of the shootout. So we would have surfed the shootout on the rise of the swell, flown, surfed Jaws, flown back and back into the shootout. But it ended up just being the shootout. Team Florence, we got to surf pipe. It's one thing to surf pipe with just a few guys out in a heat scenario. It's another to surf in a shootout style format where you don't get eliminated. You get to surf as many days as they run, right? And you can potentially surf 2 times in the day if they're running 30-minute heats or they're running hour. You add on surfing with your close friend and brothers, and this was one of the most special. It made this season already one of the most special I've ever been a part of because we're out at Firing Pipe, and I'm looking around, and it's Ivan on one side, John on the other, Eli there, and I'm like, I'm out of pipe right now with just my brothers and close friend. Like, it does not get better than that. And we were just literally trading waves. Like, I don't think I got very many good scores in the shootout. I fell on some good ones coming out, but it was an experience you just can't forget. Ivan, as you guys know, has come into his own this winter. And I'm just stoked that we get to have him part of this channel and show you guys more and more about who Ivan is. You guys already know he's Mr. Cool, Mr. Style, and I think he has the best style out of us brothers. And I'm sure you guys can agree. And this winter especially, he's come into his own. He competed in his first event in a few years, and what happens? He makes it all the way to the final. He had 4 heats with John, and it was John and Ivan continuously in first and second qualifying. They get to the final, and this news, you guys are some of the first to hear it. Ivan qualified for the Pipe Masters next week. So freaking huge through that event because he got third, and I swear he would have won, but he fell coming out of the 10. Through the qualification process, John is already in because he's a tour competitor. Baron got second, so he got the first place qualification spot. Ivan was in third, and there was I don't know the details, but somehow through either another wildcard seed or through that qualification process, through that event, Ivan just got notified yesterday he is in the Pipe Masters. So he will be in the Pipe Masters with John. We don't know what heat he's in, but he has the potential to even be in John's heat in the Pipe Masters because they put the high seed against the low seed. So freaking, this is the winter of Ivan. He's out at Pipe right now as we speak. Pipe is still going off. So we'll be sure to highlight that. I'm not in the event, so I'll be able just to get as much content around it. Maybe even do some live commentary if you guys want. Other than that, huge news. We surfed the shootout. Team Florence was in the lead for the first few days. And that just was, like I said, an unforgettable experience. I guess I'll go into some of what we were riding. We all pretty much stayed on 6.6s throughout the event. We're all on Pizels. I was on epoxy, switching between poly and epoxy. And you guys know I back epoxy hard, but that event, I had so many wipeouts. I was like starting to think, man, am I backing epoxy too hard? I started to question. Heckenbob started to question what was going on. So I was back and forth between poly. I don't think it was the epoxy. I'm still backing the epoxy through this winter. I'm just going to give it a whole winter and see. You have to try different things to see if they're better. And that's kind of how it went. The shootout ended up being the leaderboard was, and we still need to put that final video of the final day. Pipe was as good as it gets. I think it was Mason, Balram, and John in third. Mason winning, Balram getting second. I don't know what place Team Florence ended up coming in, but we felt like we won just because we got to surf all those days as Pipe empty. And then the true Triple Crown grind started. We went into surfing. You guys would have cracked up if you had been along on this thing. We surfed Haleiwa. We'd go Pipe in the morning, grind a session at Pipe, drive straight to Haleiwa. 3 hours at Haleiwa getting work. Come in. Do we need to go to Sunset? Just on the clip grind for the Triple Crown. So that was super fun. We all submitted many scores. And I ended up getting top 5 in the Triple Crown, which is huge for me. I got third at Sunset, which I was super psyched on. I got a 28.1 at Pipe on a big backdoor wave. John, pretty much a clean sweep. Carissa Moore, clean sweep. Carissa won Sunset, Pipe, and Haleiwa. John won Sunset, Haleiwa, and then Crosby won Pipe, and John took the crown. So that was the official results from last night's award show. Just before that, on the final day of the Triple Crown waiting period, we surfed Pipe all day, realized the swell was much bigger than anticipated, and fucking flew to Jaws. At 3 a.m. I woke up, we flew to Jaws because the waves were huge, like 2 days ago, 25 foot. We're going to go to Jaws. We got to score. It's the end of the swell winter. We're not even thinking clearly. This is the video that's going to be coming out later today at around 2 p.m. We fly to Jaws, get to the cliff. It's kind of fun looking, but just windy, like wind is competing. We're like, oh my gosh, the wind's going to blow it out. Like, and we get reports Oahu is 25 foot and firing. What do? We make the last minute decision. We're not going to surf Jaws. We're going to fly back to Oahu. And by the time we got back to Oahu, hadn't surfed yet. It was 1 p.m. And we were just literally a definition of a scrambled egg. Drove straight to Waimea and ended up getting some sick waves out there. But I missed the session with John and Ivan, which they had earlier at Waimea. So I was pretty damn bummed on my decision making. Sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. We made a pretty weird call trying to go to Jaws, but if it had been firing and we were on Oahu, we would have been really bummed. That led into the Triple Crown. You guys know the results from that. That's basically the last month's recap. A couple of those funny highlights. Paddle out to Sunset. One afternoon, first wave, John broke his board. He had to swim all the way in, and we're on the grind, get a board, paddle back out. So that's our ground. Haleiwa, same thing happened. Broke a board. Had to swim all the way in, paddle back out. Like that's what's going on in the middle of the sessions. Pipe. I got washed to the beach. I had a no wave exit of the water. So from out the back, cleanup set all the way to the beach. That was some fun, good times. And that kind of wraps up the month. You guys now, I'll be looking at the chat. Yeah, we are bullish on Jaws, and I'll be answering any questions you have. You want to talk equipment, you want to talk mindset, you want to talk anything between John and Ivan. If I can answer it, I will. Nutrition, whatever, training, crypto, NFT, market, ask away, and I'll start to answer these. Okay, Lee, with the GoPro question, what's your process thoughts when getting GoPro clips with the mouth mount? Would be great to hear about how you can pull it off in a serious surf. I get this question a lot with the GoPro. I wear the GoPro so much that I have an iron jaw for it. I honestly don't have any trouble keeping it in during a beatdown. It barely affects my breathing. I can have it clamped in my mouth and still be breathing totally fine. And so when I get worked with it, it's no problem. It's just there when I pop up, I can still breathe fine. And that's pretty much it with the GoPro. I can surf as big as pipe gets with it and be totally fine, big chopes. And I'm getting to the point where I think I'm going to try the mouth mount at somewhere like Waimea or Jaws. Dimensions on my Jaws board that I normally ride is a 9.8. It's a slimmed down version of the Padlock. It's not as bulky as the Padlock. The Jaws boards are really evolving lately. We're starting to surf the wave so differently that it's more like a big backdoor wave in the style and approach that we take. So our Jaws boards are now coming to closer to our pipe boards would be. They're leaner on the rail. They need more maneuverability. Maybe I'll start trying a thruster because that's what I ride at pipe. And I even got an epoxy 9.8 Jaws board. But everything in the next 5 years will be downsizing. Everyone will be on smaller boards. That is 100%. My fins, my FCS fins are out. Not sure when they're hitting shops, but they're already out. I used them at pipe this entire winter, the thruster big wave model. And I'm working on getting all my guns switched over to the FCS boxes so I can fully get those fins going more in the bigger swells. That's a good question. The pipe pecking order top 10 from Steve. I'm going to say number 1 is Jamie. He is the apex predator out at pipe. Crowd manipulation, skill level, and length of years out there. He has all those. He's at the top of all those lists. He is number 1. I would say after that, you're looking at Kalani Chapman and some of the older guys, Mikey Bruno, that are still surfing out there and are in the spot to get good waves. Those guys are kind of above me in my generation. I think we would come next. You're looking at John, me, Koa, Eli. These guys are out there every single swell, so we hold down that mid-pack position. Ivan below us would be Baron Mamiya, Makana Pang, that whole crew regulating the further inside crowd, and then you're looking at any outside traveler coming in being below that. The beard will continue throughout the winter. I just need to grow these gaps in. So Taco Bell order. I always go 2 chicken quesadillas, 2 Crunchwrap Supremes, and I get a 5-layer burrito on top of that. Kai Lenny, for his big swells, it's no joke that the rumors of Taco Bell, he gets 25 bean and boom burritos, and he brings them out on the boat. And technically, it's a good nutritional thing. You have fats, slow digesting carbs, and quick carbs in the tortilla. So People are like, Taco Bell what? But bean and cheese burrito, I mean, that's good fuel for a long day on the water. Do I still think I will surf pipeline when I'm old? Yeah, I do, but nowhere near as aggressively as I do now. I'll have hopefully be in a position where I can retire from surfing, and whether that's through NFTs or the market or surfing itself, we have yet to see. But I definitely won't be as aggressive as I am now in the pipe lineup. You have to hand it over to the younger generations and let them have their time out there, let them build their careers out there. I'll paddle out. When there's moments I think I can get a wave and take a few. But yeah, it won't be a priority when I'm older, surfing pipe. Helmet or no helmet at a pipe, it's a reoccurring question nowadays. Hold on, I gotta take my computer and plug it in. But yeah, there's different. If the helmets are evolving out at pipe, they're getting better. It's just right now, you want to risk what you want to risk basically your reflexes to a point, and I feel the helmets are pretty restricting. They are getting better. There's some now that are coming out that are not hard helmets, but they're just soft pad wraps on your head, which I think is a really sick idea. You have really light padding around, so your mobility is better and all that. So the helmets are evolving. I think in the future everyone will be in helmets, so that's a fact. It's just a safety thing. Guys are getting their heads crushed on the reef or by boards. Everyone will be wearing padded vest with flotation suits, and they will have helmets on, I think, down the road. And as we continue to push harder and harder. Yep, I do CrossFit. I have not competed. I'm a big fan of it. Big fan of the sport and the style of training, the high intensity, all that stuff for me. That is, if you guys ever wonder like how I train, I don't do a lot of the traditional surf training that you see as far as jumping on Bosu balls and little things like that. Maybe I should, I don't know. But for me, it's all about strength training. It's all about having a really, really durable engine, and by that I mean building your endurance. If I'm weightlifting, I know I'm keeping my muscular system strong, and my ligaments I feel have gotten thicker from the weight training. I've been squatting, deadlifting, benching that stuff for years now, although it does not show on Heckenhoff's body. And I feel that it has strengthened my ligaments in my body to the point where it's a prehab situation with the weight training. I haven't had an injury since I blew my knee out when I was about 15, and that caused me to go for the thunder thighs and train my legs as much as possible. So yeah, I think the weight training and the endurance aspect, everything you get in CrossFit, as long as you have a priority on form and safety and the move, you learn the actual movements. You don't just go ego first and send into it. I think it's really good training. A lot of people have the age-old question, oh, you're going to lift weights. Will you get too bulky? If you guys only knew how hard it is to actually put on muscle, then you would know that is not true. Oh, if you lift weights, you'll get too stiff. Listen, if you surf for 3 weeks or a full day and you don't roll out, recover, do everything you can to heal your body after that, you're going to get too stiff to surf from surfing. If you weight train and don't stretch, recover, roll out, you're going to get too stiff to do anything. Like, that's just a fact. Recovery is everything, whether you're just surfing or you're training. Yes, I will be at Waco. G. Holden, I see you got the Surf Punk there. If you guys don't know about Surf Punks, it's kind of the first NFT project that has to do in the surf community. By holding one of these Surf Punk NFTs, you get to come to an event in Waco, Texas at the wave pool. It's a full day event. They're going to be having concerts. Me and a few other pros will be there, and you guys will all be able to surf. We'll all be trading waves. So it's a pretty cool project. Check it out if you haven't. If I had to live and surf elsewhere for 1 year, where would it be? I honestly think that location would be Australia. It has the Australia or maybe South Africa. Australia just has so much access to so many different waves, very similar to Hawaii. And the people are great. The food is great. It's a place I could see spending a good amount of time and feeling okay about it. So if I had to move from Hawaii and be somewhere on a different coastline, I think it would be Australia. Good question by Jerry Roach. What is me and my brother's main go-to board size? On a short board, small wave day, we all ride roughly a 511. The volume's around 30.6. And for me, the width is around 19 liters. John is the same. Ivan is the same in small fluctuations. Sometimes John's boards are a little bit under in the 18.75 range. Depending, his boards are really tuned in. He has a board for every different um, variance of how the conditions are. So he's super tuned into that kind of stuff. But our main shortboard, you're going to be seeing a 511. If the waves pick up a bit, we'll be on 6.0 pintails, the Ghost or the Next Step model. Bigger than that, you're looking at those 10 to 12 for Haleiwa days. We're on 6.2s or 6.4s. Most of the time, 6.2s, they're just more mobile. Big misconception, I think, is people are on these large boards, these 6.6s, these 6.8, 6.10s, and they're like, man, the board was barely holding in. I could barely get out the bottom. How did you ride such a small board? And it's the opposite of what you think. It's not that the board could barely hold in and that's why it was hard to continue your bottom turn. It's that the board is too big, that bottom turn is too stiff. When you get on a smaller board, you realize the mobility and speed you have on a bigger face is insane. The only issue is the paddling into the wave. Can you catch the wave on that smaller board? If you have more rail, it's going to be harder to bottom turn. Less rail, it's easier to bottom turn. But the tails make a big difference. You're not going to paddle out to 10-foot sunset on a 6.0 squash tail or 6.2 squash tail. You're going to want to be on a pintail because that's the tail that's going to hold under high pressure. I use the GoPro 10 and the GoPro 8 a lot. The GoPro 8 is very durable. The 10, you have those specs and settings that you can't beat. Now they're just the stabilization, everything quality. You want quality, you want stabilization, you want really good slow-mo, 10. If you're going out to a heavy beach break and you're afraid for your GoPro's life, the 8 is very durable. Earthling, I have not heard of Hex. I'll look into it though. All NFTs copy over it. Wow, that's really cool. I'll definitely be checking that out, man. How do you think I can grow my channel? I spend heaps of time on it, but it doesn't grow. Those of you that are looking to grow surf channels, it's a really interesting time right now in surf. So much content is changing. We all watch and ingest content constantly. Instagram, Twitter, freaking Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, all of it. So we have a very keen sense now for what is natural and what is unnatural feeling. For me, I started my channel and I said, hey, I'm not going to try and be a different person. I'm a pretty weird dude. I'm going to be that person. I'm going to be myself. And I grew a channel. I grew you guys, a subscriber base that is here to see the surfing and just my personality for who I am. If you start a channel and you try to be someone cooler or who you think people want to see, then you have to play a different person every time you do your content. It's not going to work. It's going to be exhausting, and people can sense ingenuity, or is that the right word? I don't even freaking. They can sense when you're not being genuine. I can. I have seen them, and they have a new saying for it now. You see it, cringe, constantly being labeled that because we as a populace now know when another human is not being genuine on camera. And we can just tell. We've seen so much of it. That's just a fact. So if you're growing a channel, you're doing content, be yourself, grow a following that's there just to see who you are. Otherwise, you're going to be in for a rude awakening. You're going to be stressed out. You're going to have to act someone else every time you get on camera. It's just not going to work. Rant's done on content. Yeah, dude, I really want to do more live stream for you guys. I want to do a ton more of that type of stuff. I want to do more commentating live on sessions, but I'm also in the water surfing, so that's a tough thing, you know. It's notice me, senpai. Moolah for breakfast. I see you, bro. But yeah, I want to do a lot more live commentary of stuff. I'm gonna start some of the stuff I do on my OnlyFans channel, which I will be uploading more on. And to be clear, it's just surf facts, lessons, tips, tricks, all that stuff for anyone wondering. But I'll do those raw POVs, and then I'll do a live talk over like I am now, explaining the decisions I'm making, why I ducked over a certain way, why I paddled a certain direction, why I chose a certain wave. I do that live voiceover, the raw footage. That gives you guys insight into seeing, but also knowing what I'm thinking mentally going through these waves. Yeah, we do need more sea shanties in these live sessions since they're raw audio. Wave of the winter so far, I think it might have been Claude Grace's wave during the shootout. I can't think of a better wave off the top of my head that I've seen so far. That wave was absolutely psycho. The ultimate pipe wave, take off deep behind the boil, through the main section, peeling lip line, spitting for over 4 seconds if you watch that clip. So pretty rad. We have another episode coming out. I forgot I haven't told you guys about. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I think you'll be interested in. I shaped some boards for the Vans duct tape thing, and they're 2 twin fins. But for the event, you guys know we had to submit one weird board clip, and me, John, and Ivan went out to backdoor on a pretty hectic day. It was like 8-foot backdoor. I rode the twin fin I shaped mid-length. John rode this old channel bottom single fin, and Ivan rode this really old, like 50-year-old red single fin my mom had forever. And we went out and we all got pretty sick ones at pipe. So that'll be an epic video. I think you guys will be interested in what it would look like when we're riding those type of boards out at heavy pipe. Somehow, of course, not surprised, John ended up getting a psycho wave on his single fin. He submitted. You could see that on the Triple Crown scores, but I'm like, bro, really? On a single fin, you're gonna go and foam ball ride at backdoor? Like, jeez. Good question from Alex Doe. How do you shake off a hard wipeout, immediately paddle back into the lineup? Do you hit the bottom every time at pipe? It's all random, man. Some of the worst looking wipeouts are the least violent. You pop up really quick. Some of the less looking violent wipeouts are horrendous. You get the absolutely most worked on them, the longest hold down, the most violent. You slam the bottom, things like that. But no, you don't slam the bottom every time you fall at pipe. But I would say it's 75% of the time you will be pushed to the bottom. You grow reflexes most of the time now. Even though my eyes are closed underwater, I have a sense of where the bottom is. Maybe that's due to just years of feeling the pressure underwater, the light behind your eyelids, I think. You kind of know up from down, your equilibrium. All of that plays into a sense of where the bottom is. I've spoken about it with my brothers. They have the same sense. You can feel when you're near the reef or headed towards it. I've had times where I've gotten the sense that I was close to the reef, put my hand out, and just in time landed on it, hands and feet first. Ideally, I always position myself during a wipeout when I can have control of my body to land hands and feet first on the reef. You never want to just let yourself be taken to the point. They say relax during a wipeout, but you don't want to relax so that you hit the bottom in a place that you don't want to be hitting it. You don't want to hit where your back's going to be tweaked or you're going to land on your head or your tailbone or something like that. So years and years and years of getting worked has you trained reflexes to help you get less worked. So you have a bad wipeout, maybe you go in, take a chill time, maybe you just paddle back out and get back on the horse. I mean, I've been through so many bad wipeouts that I'm just used to it now. Take a moment in the channel, maybe you're dizzy, kind of do just a mental run through diagnostics check, everything good. Okay, good to go. I'm going to get a good one and shake it off mentally. Buddy kills at least 100 lizards per week. The lizard population from Buddy the cat is decimated at my mom's house. Volume at pipe is around 32 liters, I think, on those boards. I want to beef them up a little more, though. I've been feeling like I'm paddling not so fast. I've seen this question a few times. I'll answer it. Can a foreigner still move to the North Shore with all the hype and localism going on? Most people are honestly priced out of the North Shore. It's so expensive to live here. People don't realize that. They see, oh, look at that beautiful place, so I'm gonna go move there, and they get here and they realize, oh my God, this is the most expensive place to live in the States. It's insane. We have massive tax. You can't find a place to rent as a resident anymore. It's just like you're priced out of the North Shore. Definitely, you're looking at like 1 bedrooms renting for $6,000 a month. It's heavy, and yeah, there is some negativity on new people moving in, and certain locals get pissed about it, and just because they're continually being priced out of living here. So, which is understandable. Get it? You've lived here your whole life, and all of a sudden you can't make rent anymore. So it's heavy, and definitely during seasons like this where it's so busy in the water, the tension just builds higher and higher. There's been a few scuffles in the last few weeks out in the lineup between some of the CT guys and other things happening, like some pro guys, and it just is what it is. You have to realize we've all been surfing for a month straight, and we're all tired, and tensions are going to rise. People are going to get pissed. Everyone's out there trying to make their way, make their career, and when you have a string of bad sessions, you get pushed to your mental strain limit, and fuses are short at that point. When you guys ask about how long hold downs are, they're realistically not that long, but they can be long. There's a bunch of factors to consider. You say the wave period, and say it's a 16-second wave period swell. If you're under for longer than 16 seconds in the same spot that you fell in, then you're getting a 2-wave hold down. But say you're not in the same spot, you fall and you're stuck underwater, but with the whitewash tumbling, you could have a 25-second hold down because you're stuck in that whitewater, traveling before the next wave's coming. And I've had waves that I've ducked dove or gotten worked on and been stuck on my board in the whitewater from inside pipe ledge to nearly the sand. Just a few days ago, Ko Rothman was like, I just ducked dove or pounded and fell in a wave. I came up near the beach because you're stuck in that whitewater. Anyway, and those are the scariest ones because you can't get a calm area to shoot to the surface. So it causes a heavy situation, and it's not a fun one. That happened to me one of my first trips to Mavericks. I jumped over the falls. I got caught in the whitewater, and even though I had inflated my vest, I just wasn't coming up. And because my vest was inflated, it carried me through the whitewater all the way to nearly the rocks. I popped up in front of the rocks at Mavericks, and I remember I was so dizzy. The next one hit me, and I just put my feet out, and just as I put my feet out, I was able to kick off the rock and get sucked with a broken board through the rocks at Mavs. And it was my first big beat down at Mavericks. And I was like, well, thanks for the warm welcome, I guess. Like, that was super heavy. I have a video up on that somewhere if you guys scroll down in the channels. But yes, I've surfed maxing 30-foot cloud break. I was there when Ramon Navarro got that huge wave. And I 100% agree with you, Tangy Zangy. The cloud break, when it is big and doing its thing, it is one of the most unique, incredible big waves in the world. You are looking at this wave that is barreling like it's a 6-foot wave, but it's 50 foot, like coming down the reef. When the lip's landing, the noise, the thunder you hear of it landing, you see reef flying in the air. The lip, is so big, so strong, moving so fast. It is breaking through all the water and hitting the reef and breaking it apart, shooting reef and seaweed into the air. The thing with cloud break that's crazy when it's small or big, but big is obviously scary, is the good ones look like complete closeouts. You look into the channel and it's just this wall as far as you can see. And those are the ones you're supposed to go on because those are the best barrels. And so cloud break mentally is one of the most intimidating waves because that reason you look like you're going on a closeout. The drops are really sketchy. And if you get worked, it's just like I just talked about. You get caught in that rotating whitewater down the reef. And as you go, it gets shallower. So the waves get thicker. And it makes for a very dangerous situation. The one big swell we were there, we pulled up in the morning, and that was the day Aaron Gold drowned for a little bit. And they were able to resuscitate him on the boat in front of us. And it was a really heavy situation. We saw the wipeout. And we were like, oh, it's a wipeout. He got washed into the lagoon, we thought. And minutes went by. Minutes and minutes went by. And then we were like, hey, where is he? A ski went looking for him, couldn't find him. We look in by us. We were on the way inside, like way, way far away from where he fell. And there was a board floating. And we said, oh, he broke his leash. Yuri, one of the safety guys on the ski, went to grab the board, and he was attached to it, floating underwater in the channel. And he'd been underwater for minutes. And that just shows cloud break is no joke at that size. He had fully drowned. They got him on the boat. Greg Long, Healy, and Hippo, and a few other guys are trained in the BRAG, big wave risk assessment. Immediately went to work and were able to revive him like 5 minutes later. And he didn't even know. He popped up and was like, what? I was fine. I just passed out for a second. And we were like, dude, no. It was gnarly. Like, everyone was pretty traumatized. We still surfed that day, but it was definitely heavy vibes after that. Breath training. I get asked a lot about breath training. Honestly, I don't do much of it. Just try to have my aerobic capacity high. How much? What is your lactic threshold? What is your CO2 or your whatever it is? What is your threshold in that? My breath hold isn't that good, you guys. I need to train it. I need to get it better. But in my opinion, to train a big wave or a beatdown breath hold, you need to train under stressful circumstances. You're never going to have a good breathe up and a slow heart rate, which is how normal breath hold is traditionally trained. You are going to have a lot of adrenaline and a high heart rate. But my idea is that adrenaline is a super hormone and can get you through most of anything. So adrenaline is my best friend, and I love it. So shout out to adrenaline for helping me survive so many sketchy situations. What is a wipeout at Chopes like? That last fall I was there, Friday the 13th. I fell on my first big tow wave. 20-foot tow wave I fell on out there, and I thought, this is it. My worst nightmare has come true, and I have no control right now. I have no escape. I'm going over the falls in the end near the right, and I just braced, and I was moving so fast. All you can do, the speed you're moving underwater, is just brace for impact, because if you hit the reef, that part of you that hits the reef is coming off 100%. It's going to be eliminated from your body. That's the speed you're moving out of Chopes, and this reef out there is live coral. It's razor sharp. Coral is going to be put into your body or rip something off. So you have that in your head, and I was just moving so fast. Like, I'm talking 20-foot movements in milliseconds in multiple directions, and just going flipping, entire body flipping. And I just waited and it didn't come. And finally it started to ease up, and I said, oh, I gotta check out what's going on. I popped up out of the water after a super long hold down, like real long, and I had fallen on the West Bowl at Chopes, coming out of the West Bowl, and come in past the reef in the lagoon, totally fine. It was a long hold down, but the the next wave was a 2-foot whitewater because I got worked so far in to the lagoon. So it was nice one aspect, not nice because the hold down was heavy, but that was my first tow wave, and Tahoe Ray Henry towed me into it. And it was one of the waves of my life. Even though I fell coming out, the spit knocked me off, but the vision was just absolutely incredible. The intensity, you're in the barrel, and it's the biggest barrel ever. It's a bus wide, and the entire barrel is on a slant. So you think of a 60 by 60 room, and it's on a slant, and the air pressure changes because of the intensity of the power behind you. What's happening is the water's exploding and expanding, and it pulls air and pushes air. And so the air pressure changes inside those barrels, and it goes quiet, muffled on your ears. So it is an experience that is just unforgettable and insane, and I can't wait to go back to Chopes for a tow swell like that. My goals for surfing period is to continue to bring epic content to you guys, to give you insights and tips and things that you normally couldn't get from the average channel, to be able to continue to bring those POV sessions to you, to show you what it is like in those situations, as close as you can get to actually being there. My personal goals as far as the sport goes, I want to be the 1% big wave guy. I want to be pushing the sport. I want to be changing the way we surf big waves, changing the crafts that we ride. I want ride of the year. There's a wave at Jaws that I've been waiting to get. I've fallen on 3 of them or gotten chandelier. I made the drop, pulled in, and something has gone already in the barrel. Like each time the wave has done something just a little off that didn't make it. And I just know there's a wave coming at Jaws, and it's a 30-foot barrel that I'm going to get blown out in the channel that I need to get. And that is my goal at Jaws. I just want to be on every swell. I want to be on every swell getting the best waves. I want to outperform my competitors and friends. It sounds kind of comped out, but that's just how it is. Like, I love surfing with my friends, Koa, Eli, Billy, Kai Lenny, because we push each other so well. And that's when we get the best waves. Like, I want to get a better wave than them. They want to get a better wave than me. And we all want to push the level. So our generation, I feel like it's such a sick time to be in surfing. Such a good time to be a big wave surfer because the movement is just happening. The trajectory is so steep right now. The level is so high. So it's just a super exciting time to be a part of big wave surfing. And I want to just stay at the forefront for a few more years. Feel like the cat lives are running out, so each swell you risk everything, and it does get taxing, and it does get mentally to the point where you're like, fuck, I can't do this forever. But it's the life, you know. It's like the thing that you go home and you're just like, I'm actually living the life that like I could always dream of living, because you conquered a goal and something you thought would kill you, and it didn't, and you ended up succeeding. Like, that is, to me, what living is all about. So exciting stuff. It gets me psyched just thinking about it going into the next swells of the winter. Seeing a lot of repeat questions. Nazare, I've done a few paddle events at Nazare. I want to go back, but Nazare is it's a lot of risk. It's a big wave. I would go back and tow. It looks what Kylie and Lucas are doing looks really fun, but to me, Nazare where's the reward? Like, when it's a mid-size and it's clean, I could see it. You backdoor, you get barreled, you could potentially get that. But when it's big storm surf, those huge ones, and the guys are just trying to ride them, like, I get it, you're chasing the biggest waves of your lives, but for me, I want to like knife a takeoff and backdoor a barrel and get blown out. So like, Nazare doesn't quite line up with my goals in big wave surfing. So, and I've gone there and I've paddled it. I haven't really towed it, but it looks really fun. But that's kind of my take on Nazare. It's a lot of like, hey, let's ride this wave and kick out and then get extremely worked. I just don't know. I'd rather like potential ride of my life and get worked for that versus like, yeah, I just tried to ride it. And I don't know, people get the waves of their lives out there. That's just my personal opinion. Nazare is one of the wonders of the world. So it's definitely a huge thing in surfing. Will you ever go to Ireland for a big Atlantic swell? The stuff Connor got out of there. So yes, 100%. I'm dying to go to Ireland. Talk to Tom Lowe and all those guys, and I'm like, I need to make it to Ireland. Obviously, my goals was that in the last 2 years to get there, but COVID restrictions, and hopefully it lessens up and we just can put all this stuff behind us. And I can freaking travel to the countries I want to chase the waves I want to. I want to surf those Ireland waves so bad, and I want to see that countryside. I've been to Scotland, and it's incredible. So I definitely want to go to Ireland and paddle some of those waves with those guys. What do I do to recover and stay healthy? That's a great question, and underutilized by a lot of people. I try and eat as much food as I can. You guys probably think I'm on some healthy diet, but I probably should be. But honestly, I surf so much that I just need to get calories in, I feel like. So I'm just eating tons and tons of carbs and protein to try and recover for the next day and have the fuel in my veins to move again. I eat as much as I can daily, but it's hard because I drink coffee in the morning and I don't eat for the rest of the day or till like 1 or 2 because I'm just not a morning either. I just don't eat breakfast. I drink coffee and go, and I'll have my first 3 to 4 hour session before I eat. So then I have to catch up on calories the rest of the day. And with Whoop, you can see your caloric burn. I get a sense of it, and it's like 4,500 calories burned in the day. And you're like, how the fuck am I going to eat that? Unless it's like really calorie dense foods, which oftentimes aren't the healthiest foods. Full disclaimer, I ate some Ben & Jerry's last night. A full tub. Freaking New York super fudge chunk. Sorry to tell you guys, like, sorry you had to find out this way. It's just how it is. I eat a lot of ice cream. Yes, 100% more sailing trips with John. Obviously, the things have been so busy and crazy, and he's going back on tour this year. So I don't know when that will be. We had that insane month-long sailing trip. John had an injury, and it was not wintertime yet, so I could go as well. And we could put that entire month to a trip like that. And we realized, like, this is something we have to do more. We have to do more sailing trips, more exploration, more wave finding. So definitely more of that in the future. And I think as we get older and our careers tone out of the main competitiveness of surfing, we can go into more epic exploratory trips like that. Coffee, I drink coffee black with nothing in it, just black espresso. My caffeine tolerance is super high. I need to somehow reset it. I drink a coffee in the morning, then an energy drink, then I train, then I eat, then I do another coffee before 3 p.m. If I drink coffee after 3, I don't sleep good, but I'm probably taking 1,000 milligrams of caffeine a day. So it's hectic, but maybe it's because my adrenals are blown out. I'm really want to I really want to work on a project that I think you guys will find interesting based off fear, adrenaline, and the entire hormonal response that happens in a big wave situation or any fear situation. I know it's been covered somewhat, but I want to do a movie or a project. I have a good friend, Andrew Huberman. He has an insane podcast. Check it out. He does a lot of research on this. And I want to get an interview with him that goes into depth. What is the hormonal response on a fight or flight situation? Why do some people get fueled from adrenaline and energy and some lock up and can't perform? For me and some others, adrenaline causes you and fear causes you to react faster, stronger, quicker. Your instincts are on, your awareness opens up. For others, it causes a freeze up. Your limbs become stiff. You focus, tune out. And is that a hormonal thing? Is that a difference in hormonal responses? Like, that stuff really interests me. What do our adrenal systems look like after a run of swell like we just had? Are they blowing out? How do we recover them? To me, that stuff is super interesting. I want to do a full freaking dock on it and maybe come out the other side with, hey, you can change it just like you can change slow twitch to fast twitch or fast twitch to slow twitch. You can train your fear response to one that more benefits your goals. That would be freaking insane. So look forward to that. My neck does get tweaked every time I surf, but clean and jerks, power cleans, build your traps. I want to have no neck. I want to just have huge traps because then I'll have a pretty much permanent neck brace from training. But my buddies are starting to train. I'm going to meet Jack and Co and them at the gym. So I'm going to log off the live. I'm going to do more of these. I see so many questions. I've been on here for an hour now. So I'm going to hop off, guys. This will be, I'll leave it on the channel, I think, so you guys can rewatch it and see some questions that I answered. Thank you so much for tuning in. Maybe we'll do one of these monthly, maybe more if we can. Love you guys. Thank you for subscribing. It's due to you guys that this channel has been a success and continues to be a success and motivates Zoard and I. Shout out to Zoard, who has spent probably over 100 hours on the beach filming, grinding for this channel as well. And he is currently working on Monday's upload, which will be today. So you guys give Zoard some love. Give all the filmers some love. Eric Knudsen won the Triple Crown Award for most people filmed and waves submitted. So that's epic that they're starting to give award to the filmers because they do a lot of work. So thanks for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed that. We'll be doing more of this in the future, and have a good one. Tuning out. Thanks, everyone. Have a good one, guys.